How's it going, everybody? My name is Ken Schalk and I'm here representing $10 Shots and their new and first product, Snare Shots. The product is broken down into 4 individual folders. The first 2 folders are a combination of 2 different concepts sonically. These are natural snare drum samples, meaning I didn't do any kind of manipulation or add any special effects to make them sound more enhanced than they are in their natural state. The first folder, called the Neat folder, showcases 20 snare drum samples, all with just the top and bottom mic. And that gives it a very dry, monotone, very usable sample sound. You could bring in very naturally and then enhance yourself or just use as is. The second folder, which is the On the Rocks folder, takes those same snare drum samples but incorporates the 2 overheads and the monotone room mic that I also had set up for the session and enhances their stereo presence. Gives them a more finished sound, something that maybe an electronic drummer can use. If you're on the E-kit, you're bringing a more polished sound. The third folder, what I call Bartender Specials, they are not the same snare samples as the natural snares. I've added different types of effects. I've added different types of sonic manipulation to then make them either have a unique sound, or some of them even are retrospective of other sounds that maybe you may have heard in the past. Now, the fourth folder was a bonus folder that I wanted to add. I've noticed in the last, decade or two, as more and more people are entering into the recording world on an independent level, it's not so easy to just harness a great under-snare sound. And that's a very important part of the overall drum sound. It adds more snap and a little more zhuzh and detail. I actually have a video that I've done as well for $10 Shots, which features 4 different reasons why under-snare samples are important. We've also offered you a bunch of desktop wallpapers for free just to throw on your desktop. And on top of that, there is a product info file. It's a PDF file with multiple pages which breaks down the product. So even after this video, once you buy the product, you can still go through all the information in the product info file. All right, so we're here in front of the natural snare drum list. If you look down here, these are the 20 different snare samples. Quite an assortment of different names which all serve a different sonic purpose. For example, 80s mosh pit. Back in the 80s, snare drum sounds in metal were a little bit thicker, a little bit meatier, sometimes even dampened a bit. Dry cough. I used my Brunson percussion snare drum, which is a 6.5 by 14, 2 millimeters thick shell aluminum snare drum. It's a very loud drum, but it's also very dry. So I call that one dry cough. Now we're here in the Bartender Specials list, and as we look down, we see a whole bunch of other new names. I used a different assortment of snare drums to create these sounds. Danger Zone is the Top Gun soundtrack snare drum sound. Spicy Pepper is something that is kind of reminiscent of maybe like a Red Hot Chili Peppers type of snare drum. Sunday Matinee is just a real ringy type of snare drum sound, and it's kind of like reminds me of like a lot of the hardcore bands I used to play with back in the day. So now that we've gone through all the details of how the folders are broken down and what is offered to you sonically within each folder, let's get into the actual demos of some of the snare sounds so you can really hear what they're like.